Just a little bit on my background. I'm currently the head of global benefits and retirement, and I also lead our COE, Center of Expertise, for acquisitions and divestitures, as most of you have probably already seen. And one of the transactions was mentioned in the opening video. We're highly active in the acquisition and divestiture space, so it's a capability that HR has been focused on building out for the last 18 months. Just to give you, I don't have a slide like Paul had, but just to give you a quick view of what my career looked like, because I think it's helpful for everyone to hear that. My career began in Ford Motor Company, so I'm now in a healthcare company, but I started at an automotive company. Similar background earlier to a lot of people who were here at J&J with me. I began a program where I rotated through a lot of jobs in the organization. I did recruiting turns, compensation, benefits, pension roles, and really began to build that foundation of understanding inside of HR. I then moved into generalist roles where I've been primarily a business partner for the next 15 years of my career after getting those early experiences. With Ford, I worked in New Jersey. I worked in Detroit. Anybody who's familiar with the U.S. auto industry, Detroit is the big hub. And I also was fortunate enough to work in London for 3 years when they acquired Jaguar, Land Rover, Volvo, and Aston Martin. So I did get to drive a lot of fancy cars as well. Came to a point in my career where I had to decide whether I was going to advance my career in Ford to the degree I wanted to, or I had to look at other opportunities. The big driver for me wasn't necessarily personal advancement, it was what was happening in the industry. I was fortunate enough to have a few roles where I had high visibility to our strategic plans and some of the challenges we were facing, and made a decision to leave and join J&J. And I was familiar with J&J because I've had family and friends all work at J&J, and I knew it was the right place to be for me. I actually had left New Jersey for quite some time and never thought I'd come back, and I'm back in New Jersey. I started in our consumer business. I did go from automotive to healthcare, but I tell a lot of people going from the auto industry to the consumer business in J&J wasn't that difficult. I had to learn HR, I had to learn the culture, but the business model was relatively the same, except we weren't selling $50,000 cars. We were selling consumer products at a lower price, but the distribution model and the manufacturing model was extremely similar. So learning the business model was probably the least of my concerns joining the organization. I went from there and got device experience. So I went to our medical device group, and this is where I saw the other side of J&J, the healthcare side. And it was a steep climb personally to learn the healthcare model. It was the first time I was in meetings with doctors. I went out on sales calls with our sales rep and was talking to doctors directly inside and outside the U.S. And it was a tremendous learning challenge, probably the biggest learning challenge I've had in my career. And I've had some very robust jobs in my career. From there, I got tapped to come into our corporate headquarters and lead our HR transformation program. And as you'll learn in a process, if you haven't already, HR is going through a sweeping change where we're redefining roles in the organization, we're introducing technology, we're building our global database better so we can have analytics that are more robust for us. And I did that job for the past 3 years. We're about halfway through the transformation. North America is completely through at this point. Europe's about halfway through, and we are about to begin the work in Asia and in Latin America. So we're still on a journey that's going to last at least another 24 months before we bring everybody into this new HR model we designed. About a year ago, I got asked to head up our acquisition and divestiture group. I talked about we're very active in that space, but in the past, we had not built out a large A&D focus. And over the last year, we have really been building out and staffing a team to focus on the amount of acquisitions we're doing in divestitures. And recently, in the last 90 days, I've taken the responsibilities as well to be the head of global benefits and retirement. I'm sure those words play with everybody, and there's a good understanding what those groups are.